Saturday morning. I have a question for you this morning. Are you diving, surviving, or reviving, or thriving? Are you diving, just surviving, reviving, or thriving? We're told in the 85th Psalm, 6th verse, "Wilt thou not revive us again, that thy people may rejoice in thee?" Wilt thou not revive us again, that thy people may rejoice in thee? King James Version. Sometimes we feel like we're taking a nosedive, don't we? Sometimes we feel like we're just surviving. Other times we feel like we're being revived, and sometimes we feel like we're thriving. Hosea 6:2. After 2 days will he revive us, and the third day he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. Psalm 138:7. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou wilt revive me. Thou shalt stretch forth thine hand against the wrath of mine enemy. Habakkuk 3:2. O Lord, I have heard thy speech, and was afraid, O Lord. Revive thy work in the midst of the years, in the midst of the years make known. In wrath remember mercy. Well, sometimes we feel like we're taking a nosedive. We feel like we're overwhelmed. We feel like that we may not survive. But God, in his mercy, grants unto us a revival of our spirit, of our heart, of our hope, of our trust in him. We know the only way that we will ever persevere in our faith is if we're revived by the Spirit of God. We know it doesn't come from ourselves. We know if we are going to have any revival, it's going to be him to revive us again. We sing that song, "Revive Us Again." Fill each heart with thy love. May each soul be rekindled with fire from above. Hallelujah, thine the glory. Hallelujah, amen. Hallelujah, thine the glory. Revive us again. Well, I think the revival of the heart is God granting unto us a resignation of his will in our lives. We all have to go through things that we don't like. We all have to face things that are very, very difficult. We all have to we all have a lot of questions, you know. Why? You know, we all get into the plum theory. Poor little old me, you know. Why do I have to go through this? Just think of all the things that Joseph went through in his life. First, his brothers hated him. He was sold into Egypt into slavery. He was falsely accused of rape. He was thrown into prison. But God delivered him and made him right-hand man to Pharaoh. Daniel had to go through a lot. Daniel threw open the windows of his home and prayed, disobeying the order of the king, and was thrown into a den of lions. But God delivered him out of the mouth of the lions. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego would not bow and worship. And they only would worship the Lord their God. They would not worship any other God. And they were thrown into a burning lake of fire. But the Son of God was there with them. Paul was persecuted and went through many, many sufferings. But God delivered him out of all of them. Even though he was martyred for the cause of Christ. Stephen was stoned. You know, regardless of what we have to go through, we must realize that Christ is our sustenance, our hope, our joy, our peace. And it says in Psalm 138:7, though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou wilt revive me. Thou shalt stretch forth thine hand against the wrath of mine enemies, and thy right hand shall save me. So this morning, that is really my message to all of us, to let us realize that he holds the whole world in his hands, and he has our back. Underneath us are the everlasting arms of God. When we seem to be taking a nosedive, when we seem we won't survive, he will revive us and cause us to thrive.